number is likely to be much larger. Those still stuck in Afghanistan remain at risk of reprisals from the Taliban. With me now is Shawn VanDiver, US Navy veteran and founder of AfghanEvac, an organization which helps to get Afghans out of Afghanistan and resettle them in the United States. Also joining me is Lucky, former interpreter for the US Army in Afghanistan, who escaped from Afghanistan after the Taliban took control 1 year ago. Thank you both for joining us here on the program. Shawn, I'm going to begin with you. When we talk about those kinds of numbers, that 77,000 still left behind, that doesn't include spouses, that doesn't include children, what goes through your mind?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on today to talk about this really important issue. Those numbers, that's just special immigrant visa or special immigrant visa applicants. So the reality is that number's a lot larger. Generally, SIVs have about a family of 4 that come with them, and that doesn't take into account the P1, P2 referrals to the United States Refugee Admissions Program. It doesn't take into account all of the other folks who are at risk because they believed in the idea of America. They stood with us, and their lives are now at risk because of that. And what does give me hope is that we've seen over the past year processing capability and capacity throughout the program continue to increase.
But there are many still in Afghanistan. I was there just a few weeks ago who were telling me that they're very frightened. They move from house to house. They're very concerned and believe that they're at risk.
Absolutely. And look, we did that. And we have to go. We have to ensure that those folks are able to get out and realize their American dream or wherever it is that they would like to go. Primarily the United States.
Lucky, I'm just going to bring you into the conversation because, frankly, you were one of the lucky ones. You were able to leave. You were an interpreter with the United States military, and you actually called Shawn while you were in Afghanistan after the Taliban took over and asked him for help to get you out.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me there on this. And yes, I still remember, and all of my life, I would remember this when I was one last wish, and I was out of my very charged, and there was nothing. And finally, I had to walk up all the way to the mountain. And my last hope was Shawn, and texted him and asking for help to get my family out because I was stuck and I was not able to get to the airport. By my family means my kids and my wife. And Shawn was my last hope. And I texted him, told him that I will not be able to make it to the airport, but my family there, my wife, and I have a citizen, 6 months. She's 1 year right now, and a 4-year-old daughter. So I asked for help because I was not able to get out, And with my family, especially traveling with kids, was not impossible.
Yeah, but I do want to ask because a lot of finger of blame has been pointed on Afghan forces for not fighting. That's what the president said at the time. That's what the Secretary General of NATO said, that Afghans did not fight. I just want to get your reaction to that because you have a bit of a story about what happened.
Yes, Afghans, they didn't want to fight. The soldiers, the people, they sacrificed their family because they didn't want to give up. Especially me, when I was there, my friends, they were with me, special forces people, like the soldiers. They wanted to fight, but they were getting orders from their leadership. And the leadership was telling them, like, wait, and then finally they said, don't fight. We are not here. We are not going to fight anymore because they're getting orders from their top leadership. And I believe so. They were all something that came out with the Doha agreement. This is what their agreement was, like, we're not going to fight. The Afghan leadership this is my personal opinion, that they have been told not to fight. You have to give up. You have to surrender. Because they haven't taken any single district with the fighting, especially where I was from district, always there was fighting, but they were never won by fighting. But finally, when they gave up, they had a leadership. They told them not to fight.
Shawn, I'm just going to bring you in because, of course, you served as a vet. You fought alongside many of these men. To hear that now, and I'm sure you've heard that many other times, that ultimately they were told not to fight, and this is now the end result. What is your reaction?
Well, I think it's clear. I think a lot of times folks forget that Ashraf Ghani left and created this vacuum of power there, and that led to a lot of the collapse that we saw. That was one of the contributing factors. So, look, I never served on the ground in Afghanistan. I served in other places all over the world. But what I do know is that leadership matters. Leadership really matters. And when we people like to compare Afghanistan and Ukraine, and I don't think there's a lot of appropriate comparison, but one appropriate comparison is the leadership there.
Do you feel let down by President Biden, by what happened? We're just speaking to Congressman Mike Waltz, who said, as someone who served as a vet, that he feels let down.
I feel let down by all four administrations who led the war in Afghanistan, and I think that President Biden called me yesterday and thanked AfghanEvac for the extraordinary support. He said that they wouldn't have been able to succeed without the work that AfghanEvac did. And a lot of that is because, AfghanEvac was inspired by Lucky here. So I think that I'm really disappointed in how this has all played out. However, we don't Monday morning quarterback at AfghanEvac, right? Like, we all saw the tremendous human suffering that played out at that airport. And I know my government well enough to know that that wasn't what they wanted, the chaos and leaving people behind. It was ugly. My hat goes off to the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and diplomats who gave their all to salvage what they could out of it, especially the 13 service members and more than 170 Afghans that we lost at Abbey Gate. But right now we need to look forward. We have to know where we're going now. We need to know, my answer is we need to do everything in our power to live up to the commitments that we all made to those who are trapped there by the chaos.
And Lucky, I imagine your family witnessed all of this, your children. How are they now settled in the United States, having been through all of that in Afghanistan a year ago?
Well, especially it took them several months, especially my kids, because they were here for several months and they were dreaming all those nightmares. They were thinking about, they thought they're still in Afghanistan because they saw all the blood, all the fighting, bombs, and it was not only my kids. I saw thousands of other families' kids. They were crying. We see dead bodies there. The kids saw them. There was blood. And I have witnessed, there was a people that they went, it's very hard to tell you. They told me to take my kids out from here. At least they're safe there, because they didn't have any hope. They knew that what happened last time with the Taliban government, and they're going to do the same thing, which they're repeating it. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Taliban, they're same, but they don't understand. And I want to be clear that Afghanistan is going to be it's not going to be a safe place for any countries. And this is something that the U.S. forces will go back there, because what they have accomplished in the last 20 years, nothing. They have nothing. Now they have empowered the Taliban government. They have guns. They have very well equipped machinery. They have all those helicopters. They made him more stronger for us. They're terrorists. They shouldn't have been left all those weapons and everything. And they're stronger now. And I don't think so that Afghanistan is going to be a safe place for...
Sure. I'm just going to bring in Shawn finally. I just want to ask Shawn, as we said, there's tens of thousands still stuck in Afghanistan. If the Taliban remains in power, and it looks like that's the future, will you continue to try and get these people who worked alongside the US military and others out of the country?
Absolutely. AfghanEvac has forged a partnership, an unprecedented partnership, with the U.S. government and the more than 200 member organizations, and we're not stopping anytime soon. We are committed. The president yesterday committed to expanding the relocation program. We are always asking for more and faster. We made promises to these folks, and we've got to honor those promises. Otherwise, wherever we go in the American interest in the future, we're going to have a really hard time getting the population there to stand with us.
Shawn, Lucky, thank you both for joining us here on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.